Hi everybody, it's Clues by Sam time. If you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it is a daily puzzle where there is 20 people. Each of them must be assigned a role, either criminal or innocent, and they might give you clues to help you figure out who is what. And we are doing this here every day. The puzzle ranges in difficulty from easy to hard, sometimes evil along the week, and today's is a hard one, so that's pretty exciting. We're gonna solve this together, so if you wanna play it as well, there is a link in the description to take you to it, and I'm gonna start mine right now and explain my logic as I go. So let's start. We start with Zena telling us there are no innocents in row 1 who neighbor Donna. Donna is in row 1 herself, so she has 2 people neighboring her in that same row, but none of them are innocents, which makes both Betty and Emma criminals. Now, Betsy, not Betty, sorry, says that only one of the 3 innocents neighboring Kyle is her neighbor. So, Betsy and Kyle share 3 people as neighbors. One of them is an innocent only, so that means that among these other 5, because Kyle has 8 neighbors total, if 3 of them are innocents, that makes 5 of them criminals. The other 2 are down here. But we don't know about anybody yet, so let's leave that clue there and look at Emma's. Only one of the 2 innocents neighboring Betsy is Donna's neighbor. Okay, again, only one of the 2 innocents neighboring Betsy. So Betsy has 2 innocents neighboring her total, but only one of those is Donna's neighbor. And Betsy and Donna share 2 innocents, 2 neighbors, but only 1 innocent. And now we also know that Betsy is gonna have 1 other innocent neighboring her here in column A, but we also know that she only shares 1 innocent with Kyle. So both of the people that she shares with Donna, along with Floyd, are shared with Kyle, and only one of them is an innocent. So that means that Floyd is not an innocent because we're gonna have 1 innocent here who's either gonna be Gabe or Hank. I almost made a mistake there because Donna could be an innocent. Only one of the 2 innocents neighboring Betsy is Donna's neighbor, but Donna could be an innocent. We know for sure that Floyd. The logic on Floyd is still correct because Floyd couldn't be an innocent because he isn't shared with Donna. And we know that Betsy is gonna share an innocent with Donna here. And that's the only innocent that she shares with Kyle, so Floyd couldn't be an innocent. But we now know that Alice and Donna are one or the other, because Donna could be an innocent as well. So that'll make Floyd a criminal. Okay, almost made a mistake there. That's good that I caught myself. Now what does Floyd say? Row 5 is the only row with exactly 2 criminals. Okay, there's gonna be 2 criminals here in row 2, right? There's Floyd, the first one. The second one is either gonna be Gabe or Hank, so Isaac couldn't be an innocent, otherwise row 2 would also have only 2 criminals. So Isaac has to be a criminal as well. Now Isaac says that only one of the 3 innocents neighboring Gabe is Donna's neighbor. So where's Gabe? Gabe also has 8 people neighboring him. He shares 2 people with Donna as neighbors, Betsy and Hank. Betsy is already a criminal, so to have an innocent, Hank would have to be the innocent shared with Donna, right? So Hank is an innocent, that makes Gabe a criminal. And now we know that Gabe has 3 innocents neighboring him total. So let's keep that in mind for later. But Gabe's second innocent neighbor is going to be up here. Now what does Hank say? Only one person in a corner has exactly 2 innocent neighbors. Corners are the corners of the board. So Alice is not a person. She doesn't have any innocent neighbors. Emma could have 2 innocent neighbors. And the other people could as well. I mean, Uma could. Let's look at Gabe's clue. Kyle and Wally have only 1 innocent neighbor in common. Where's Kyle and Wally? Kyle and Wally share Poe and Ruth as neighbors. One of them is going to be an innocent and the other one is going to be a criminal. That's Kyle's second innocent neighbor. And we know that Kyle has 3 instances total neighboring him. But, or is that a but? Because Gabe also has to have 3 instant neighbors. He's gonna have to have 1 neighbor who is an instant here in row 3. So how does that work? Kyle and Wally have only 1 instant neighbor in common. That's okay. Only 1 person in a corner has exactly 2 instant neighbors. We don't know about Paul and Ruth, but each of them neighbors a person in a corner. Only 1 of the 3 instant neighboring Gabe is Donna's neighbor. The second one is here, which means that Gabe's gonna have a 3rd one here in row 3. And since he's gonna have a 3rd one, let's say that's Kyle. Lower tag. Let's say that's Kyle. Then we know for sure that both Jane and Mary are criminals, right? And we know that row 3 couldn't have 2 criminals only. So Nick has to be the 3rd criminal in that row, just like Isaac in row 2. That's pretty straightforward, even though we don't know who's the innocent here. Now Nick says that exactly 2 of the 3 innocents neighboring Ruth are in row 5. Where's Ruth? Ruth has 2. Don't clip that. Ruth has 2 innocents neighboring her in row 5, which means that Vera and Wally are one or the other. Oh, not the green tag. Let's use the pink one. Why? Because Zena is the first instant neighboring Ruth in row 5. Second one is either Vera or Wally, but what does that make Uma? Is the second criminal, because we know that row 5 has 2 criminals. So Uma has to be the second criminal here. And we still don't know about the people on the corner and their number of instant neighbors. So what do we know? What do we know? Go again through the clues. One of the 2 instances neighboring Betsy is Donna's neighbor. Yeah. Row 5 is the only row of exactly 2 criminals. Kyle and Wally have only 1 instant neighbor in common. Only 1 person in a corner has exactly 2 instant neighbors. We don't know Uma and Zena. Because we don't know Emma. We don't know anybody. So only 1 of the 3 instances neighboring Gabe is Donna's neighbor. That's Hank. And the second instant neighbor for Gabe is here. 2 of the 3 instances neighboring Ruth are in row 5. Oh. Do we know about Kyle? Kyle has 3 instant neighbors, right? He's gonna have 2. Hank, and the second one is either Paul or Ruth, which means that he needs a 3rd one. It could be Oscar. So I'm not sure about that yet. Exactly 2 of the 3 instant neighboring Ruth. So Ruth has 3 instant neighbors. But we don't know if she's gonna share one with Gabe. So how do I act on that? How do I act on that? There are no instances in row 1 neighbor Donna. Okay, we're sure about that. 3 instances neighboring Kyle total. And we have a second one down here, which means that someone here has to be an instant. And it could be Kyle himself. If it were Kyle, then we know that both Jane and Mary are criminals. And if both of them are criminals, we know that Kyle has to have a 3rd instant neighbor who has to be Oscar. And now row 4 has 2 instants, so it couldn't have a second criminal, otherwise it would have the same number of criminals as row 5, which is the only row with exactly 2 criminals. So that will make Sarah an innocent. But now we could make both Poe and Vera innocents. That wouldn't break Emma's clue. Oh, that's not Emma's clue. Whose clue is about the corners? Hank's. Only one person in a corner has exactly 2 innocent neighbors. So that wouldn't be Uma, and that wouldn't be Zena because both of these people would be criminals. That would have to be Emma then. And these guys couldn't be one or the other. I'm not sure I'm going the right direction here. I'm quite lost. These two couldn't be one or the other because that would make both people in the lower corners have 2 innocent neighbors. So this would break completely. But this could be a scenario that works if Donna is an innocent and Alice is a criminal. If Kyle, I don't want to clear the upper text, so I'm going to click them all and change the scenario to Kyle being a criminal and making Jane and Mary one or the other. Now we know. I guess we gotta think about Ruth. But now we know that Jane and Mary are one or the other. There's the third innocent neighbor for Kyle, which makes Oscar a criminal. That will make Sarah a criminal because of the 2 criminal rule. There's now 2 criminals in row 4. So Sarah has to be the 3rd criminal to not have only 2, which is row 5's singularity. Now, same thing happens with Poe and Vera, doesn't it? Oh, the opposite happens. If these 2 then they have to be both of the pairs have to be one or the other. And what about Ruth now? She has 1, 2. She could have 3 with Mary. I didn't look at her in the previous scenario. But if Paul were to be an innocent and Ruth a criminal, then if Donna is a criminal, that works. So I think I'm not looking at the right place because I think this wouldn't be that hard. I know it's a hard puzzle, but I don't think it's that hard. So I'm gonna go through the clues again. One more time. One of the 3 instances neighboring Kyle is Betsy's neighbor. That's Hank. One of the 2 instances neighboring Betsy is Donna's neighbor. That's Hank. Again. Row 5 is the only row with 2 criminals. Okay. That makes Oscar and Sarah the same because of Poe and Ruth. Only one person in a corner has exactly 2 innocent neighbors. Could be Emma. And it could be Zena or Uma. It's just not Alice. Only one of the 3 innocents neighboring Gabe is Donna's neighbor. Okay. Three innocents neighboring Gabe. The second one is up here. Exactly 2 of the 3 innocents neighboring Ruth and row 5. That means that Ruth has only one more innocent neighbor. Do we look at Sarah and Poe If Ruth is a criminal, that will make Paul an innocent, right? And that will make both Sarah and Oscar criminals. Why? I don't know. Both of them could be innocents, and if both of them are innocents, Ruth has more innocent neighbors than she could, because Nick tells us that Ruth has 3 innocent neighbors. So if Ruth is a criminal, both Sarah and Oscar are criminals. If Ruth is an innocent, it could be that both Sarah and Oscar are innocents. Could they both be criminals? I mean, I guess they could. Huh. Do I have to go through the clues again? One more time. Only one of the 3 instances neighboring Kyle is my neighbor. I am confusion. Only one of the 2 instances neighboring Betsy is Donna's neighbor. Yeah. Row 5 is the only row. What am I not seeing? Row 5 is the only row with exactly 2 criminals. We know that for sure. Kyle and Wally have only one instant neighbor in common. Okay. Only one person in a corner has exactly 2 instant neighbors. It has to be this. It just has to be this. But I don't know how to address it. Because this is confusing me. Paul, Ruth, Vera, and Wally are confusing me. Only one of the 3 instances neighboring Gabe. Where's Gabe? Gabe's for sure gonna have an instant neighbor here. Who could be Kyle. And if Kyle is an instant, then both Jane and Mary are criminals. Which makes Oscar an instant. And Oscar being an instant makes Sarah an instant. Now Ruth has more instant neighbors than she could have, because she has Zena, that's the first one. The second one's gonna be here in row 5. The third one's Sarah. The fourth one's Kyle, but Ruth only has 3 instant neighbors. So Kyle couldn't be an instant, because it forces Oscar to be an instant, and Oscar being an instant forces Sarah to be an instant. So Kyle has to be a criminal. And he doesn't give us a new clue. How? Now Jane is gonna be one or the other with Mary, because Gabe needs an innocent neighbor in row 3, and that forces Oscar to be a criminal, because Kyle's last innocent neighbor is gonna be in row 3 along with him. So for Oscar is a criminal, and because of Oscar, Sarah is a criminal too. Now Oscar says there is an odd number of instances neighboring Vera, and one instant neighboring Vera is in row 4. So that means that Wally couldn't be an instant, otherwise Vera would have 2 instant neighbors, and that's an even number. So Wally has to be a criminal. That makes Vera an instant. And now we know for sure that neither Zena, Paul could be an instant. Paul could be an instant. There's an odd number of instant neighboring Vera. Okay, we solved that. Now Vera says that Paul has exactly 2 instant neighbors. Vera is one of them. She neighbors Paul. And the second one is in row 3. That's either Jane or Mary. That makes Ruth a criminal. And that makes Paul an instant. And now we know that Emma has 2 instant neighbors, and she's in a corner. So that makes Emma have 2 criminal neighbors, which makes Alice an instant. And now How do we solve Mary and Jane? Mary and Jane? Only one of the two instance neighboring Gabe's. I don't need that. Person in the corner, I don't need that. Two criminals, I don't need that. Neighboring Betsy's donuts, I don't need that. 3 instance neighboring Ruth. Ruth already has 3 instance, Paul, Vera, and Zena, so that makes Mary a criminal and Jane an innocent. Wow. Very hard. Very hard indeed. For a moment there, I thought I was gonna take hours to do this. You really gotta put a lot of things together. Like, the first scenario I simulated had the correct answer, but I didn't look at, was it Vera? Who had the roof. So the first scenario I simulated was Kyle being an innocent, but I didn't look at Ruth's total, and that set me off on a tangent. So yeah, sometimes when you simulate a scenario, you gotta do it and then go through all the clues again so that you can make sure that you're remembering everything that's gonna be affecting that scenario. So very interesting game today. I like it. I learned something new, so I'm happy about it. And I hope you enjoyed the video and you learned something new too. So let me know how it went for you if you did play. And have a nice Sunday. And I'll see you tomorrow for our Double Monday with a bonus puzzle from last week. So bye bye.